Okay, quite a few people have asked me to talk about Nebula in TradingView. This is Nebula right here, and I'll show you where to find it. Nebula is made by TraderOracle. There's two places you can find it. So if you go to Indicators and you type Nebula, look for the Dave Trade 55 one, click on this here, you can read more about it. He has a description of it, including the release notes. So you can just add that, or the other place is if you want to find the code, we'll go to GitHub, which is here. So if you go to github.com and type TraderOracle, he's got a whole bunch of source in here. Click on TradingView, scroll down to Nebula. It's got a few versions. This is the most recent one. There you go. That's the source code. So you could copy that source code and paste it into TradingView if you want. And I think both versions are the same, the GitHub one and the one in TradingView. So what's there to talk about? Well, a lot of people ask, what do these symbols mean? What you should do is go to settings. Oh, actually, before I get in there, I've got a few indicators on here. I use Lux Algo Sessions to show me the high and low of the day and the start of the market and the end of the session. I also like to have the EMA 21 turned on. That's the yellow line there. We don't need it for these purposes, but I like it, so I'm going to leave it on. And BB is the Bollinger Bands. And you can see the high and low band, and in the middle there's an SMA 21. Let me check. Oh, 20, SMA 20. It's very similar to the EMA 21. You don't need that either, but what we're talking about now is Nebula. So let's take a look at that. So TraderOracle added a whole bunch of settings in here, so you could change everything. But what do I change? The only thing I change is I use the color theme and I turn on the color blind mode because I like that contrast. I like the cyans and the oranges, so it's easy to tell the uptrends and the downtrends. So one of the most important things you need to do is right at the top here, it says, note, uncheck the body, the wick, and the border in your settings for this indicator to display properly. So TraderOracle colors the candles based on some conditions, in particular the Wada Atara explosion colors. But what you need to do is you need to go to the settings, go to symbol, and these checkboxes need to be empty. Deselect these, because if they're selected, then TradingView will color the candles. You don't want that. So deselect those. Alternatively, you can make them opacity 0. That's the same thing as deselecting them. So press OK on that, and let's go back in. So as I was saying, there's a whole bunch of settings here, so feel free to browse through. I don't change any of these. They're all fine for me. But the important thing for you to take a look at is the style. Now this tells you what all these symbols mean. So you can see these one with the circles. There's the buy signal, sell signal. If it's filled in, that's the strong buy, strong sell signal. Add a contract is the pluses. If it's a strong add, that's the bold pluses, and you'll see the taking partial profits. When I see those, we'll view this in a second. Those check marks, that's telling me the trend might be changing. And 921 EMA cross, it might also show the trend is changing. Yeah, like that. So now let's take a look at some price action. So let's look at yesterday. That was June 18th. This is 9:30 a.m. Don't worry about this bar. That was me just looking at the high and the low for the day when I started. So I don't like to trade the first half hour, but we'll look at it anyway. So you see the color of the candles is not necessarily saying whether it's a up candle or a down candle or a buy or sell candle. It's based on the volume, which matches this Wada Atar explosion indicator that I have done, oscillator that I have done here. So when the color is strong like this, that means your price is moving, and that's a good time to be trading the trend. And then when you lose the color, that means the trend could be changing. So we get the color back here, but it takes a bit of time. It'd be better to get in the trade here, but it takes some time for the watercolors to catch up, to lose the sell and get into the buy. So it's not always the best to wait for it. It should be very clear. There's no one signal that you're looking for here. It's not like one symbol. If you see the symbol, then you buy or you sell. It's not like that. You have to look at the context. So this was a great sell, and then we see these check marks saying it might be the end of the trend. Good time to take profit. So whenever I see those, I just start exiting. And then it goes up. We see this buy symbol here, and that's a good signal that we're going up. You see that plus, that means it might be a good time to add as we cross the EMA 21. That's that yellow line there. And this is what I like. I like that strong Wada color. And that triangle, that was the 921 EMA cross, showing that we're going up here. And then we get the check mark. So if you would have got in when you see the color here, and then got out when the candle closed with this check mark here, you wouldn't make very much money. That was only a few points there. Let's just for fun, let's take a look at that. We'll say 1020 if you got in the color there. Let's drag it out because these labels are covering stuff, and you close there, you'd only be getting 9, maybe 10 points. But sometimes that's the way it is. In this case, it came down and then went back up again to make new highs, but we didn't know at this point, and it actually came through the EMA 21 before going up. So these symbols were right to close, because the symbols that appear are based on what we've already seen. It can't really know what's coming up. Nobody can see the future, so it looked like price was going to head back down based on this engulfing candle here, and it did for a short time before it started heading up again. So how do you know what symbol to what signal to take? You see the sell symbol here, but then right away it bounced back up. As I said, you can't look at just one symbol, and you don't jump on a trade as soon as you see one symbol. So look at the context. So I don't like this one because the next right away it bounced back up. So I wouldn't just jump in as soon as the candle closes based on that. I want to see the direction of the price for the next candle. If it keeps going down, though, that's good. So I might, if it goes down, I put a limit order up a little higher so it can pull back and get me in. But in this case, it just shot up. So as I said, don't be too quick. Look at the price action. And here the watercolor is back on, that we're going up. We get a buy signal here, and then we get a sell and a buy and a sell. So how do we know which one to be taken? Well, we're above the EMA 21, that yellow line, or the SMA 20 if you like to look at that one. So I don't really want to take these sell signals as soon as I see them, because often it's just a pullback, and here it was a pullback, another pullback. So these are great entries to add. It says buy. This plus here are also good ones for adding. And so something I'd be looking for, and not necessarily a hard rule, is look for the symbols the signals that appear when you're the buy signals when you're above the EMA 21, or the reverse. If your price is below, then ignore the buy ones and look at the sell ones. Eventually it's going to reverse and come down, but we don't know when that's going to be. There's going to be a lot of pullbacks before that happens, and those are great opportunities to get in. So we lose the momentum, but we're still above the EMA 21, so we're still going up. So would you close as soon as you see an empty candle like that? You could, but as you see, it kept going up for a while. But then we start getting some red color here, so it looks like it's arching, it's getting near the top. It looks like it might be done, the trend, but we don't know. Nobody can see the future. So here we see the water come down hard, but the next candle was a doji, and then it goes back up. So we're not breaking the trend yet. That looks like a pullback. And here we go below the EMA 21 and we got some nice watercolor. So this is more attractive because we didn't lose the color right away. It pulls back a little bit, back to the EMA 21, and then heads down again. So this looks like we might have broke the trend. We've got a lower low, lower than this one here. However, price goes back up. So, if you would have got in here, you could have got a few points, but then it would come back up and you'd be break even, stop. And notice the Bollinger Bands are quite tight here. So that means price is in a squeeze. This is not a good time to be trying to trade the trend because we don't have a trend. When we see price crossing the EMA 21 here, and then again here, and again to here, we stay down a little bit here, but we're not going hard. The watercolor is not strong, and then we're back, right riding the EMA 21 here. Look how tight the Bollinger Band is. This is not a time to be trading. Go for a coffee, have a bathroom break, go for lunch. We want to see the watercolors coming back here, and we want to see the Bollinger Bands opening up, and we do here. So we're going to higher high. This is looking good, but then it comes back down. How do we know that? Well, we don't, but we got a clue with these check marks that it could be the end of the trend going up, and that comes down hard. So if you would have been quick to exit here and then enter with this sell signal, I wasn't strong enough candle here. I would wait through here. You could have got maybe 10 points down here. Just for fun, let's throw a position on here. And you could see the 14. You could have got 20 points. And so we're below, but then we're back up to the EMA 21, and we're just consolidating for a long time. The price action here is lousy. So when the Bollinger Band's tight like this, don't try trading the trend. You could try to scalp 10 points or maybe 20 points. 20 points with this the size of these candles, I wouldn't even go for 20 points. 10 points would be the way to go, or just sit it out. Just wait for the volume to pick back up. So one of the things I like is to use the Wada-Atar explosion oscillator, so I can see when the volume is below that dead zone line, that blue line here, then I know it's not the time to trade. So I want to see price volume jumping up above that dead zone line, so I know we got some trends happening, and here it is. I remember trading this yesterday, getting in when I saw the plus here and the Bollinger Bands opening up. There's a good wide space between the price and the EMA 21. So I remember I got in there and I wrote that down for I think 50 points. Let's just see that. Yes, I remember I got 50 points on the way down there. And then I saw these check marks at the bottom telling me it's probably time to get out. And I saw this strong buy signal. And when price is trending like this, and these signals work great, and you see some ads here, and I made 50 points on the way back up. So let's test that out with another position here. If I would have got in here, so that was an easy 50 points right there. If you get 50 points on the way down, 50 points on the way up, you're done for the day. So keep going up. We get an ad here, but that drops down a bit. There's no way to know. Eventually it's going to pull back. And then this was news. So this was when, you can see at the time at the bottom there, 1400. That's when the Federal Reserve announced that they weren't going to change the interest rate, and price spiked up and then it dove down, and you can't predict what's going to happen when news like that comes up. But you do know it's coming out because everybody knew it was coming out, so you just exit a little bit before that. But it often happens like this when news comes out. They take everybody's positions out. They go up, and all the people that were short got taken out, and then they spike down. All the people that were long get taken out, so everybody gets taken out. And then it just goes sideways for a while, and then Jerome Powell started talking right about here. There was a big drop down, price spiked back up and drove down again. It's hard to trade when news is going on. It's best just to take a break. Listen to the news or do whatever you want and wait for all the craziness to end. Could you have gotten in here? You could, but there was a lot of candles here where you could have got taken out very quick. It was going down and it pulls back. But you can see the watercolor was great here. 921 cross, that inverted triangle going pointing down was good. You get these adds, and then we get these check marks on the bottom, so time to get out. You got some check marks here because something Nebula thought it might be the end of the trend, but it didn't. So like I said, you can't just take one signal. You got to look at the context. So when we go up here and we get an empty candle, then that looks like a good time, and we get a buy signal here saying, time to get out, because the trend could be changing. It went up and it tested that EMA 21 and came back down again. A big spike up here, taking out all those people that were short. So if you got out down here, this is a great time to get out. And I remember I got out then. I made 50 points again there. But if you waited and to hope that we're going to go even further down, you probably got stopped out here and lost all your profits. And we're right near the end of the day now. And so you got the watercolor saying buy here, and the price pulls back pretty far, pulls back the EMA 21. We get a buy signal here, so I'd ignore this one, this sell signal, because we're above the EMA 21, but this is a good buy signal. You could have got 20 points up there. And then it comes down. I wouldn't have gone short just because I saw that, but in fact it was a good short because you got the watercolor coming on strong here. So you could have got another 20 points on the way down here. Buy saying it's going, a buy signal saying it's going back up across the EMA 21. But we don't get that strong watercolor. It's a little weak through here, and we just go sideways for a while. Then we're at the end of the day. I wouldn't be trading so close to the end of the day. There's only 10 minutes left here. We got some watercolor saying we're going down. We got some sell signals to add position, and you could have made 10 points or something on there. So these indicators work really great when price is trending. Let's do another quick example. Let's look at the previous day. This is the 17th now, and yeah, see the tight Bollinger Bands here? That means price is in a squeeze, and the signals don't work well. There's no indicator that works well when price is in a squeeze, because it looks like it's going up and then it's going down. It just keeps riding that EMA 21 there, or crossing down and crossing up across it. Yeah, it's tough. And let's see if we get a trend. Here's a good trend here. So below the EMA 21, you get that inverted triangle saying 921 EMA cross. We get an add position, pulled back a little bit, and I thought might be going up, but I'd ignore that because we're below the EMA 21. And we got great color as we separate from the EMA 21. Price is creating a space between the EMA 21. And we got some check marks here saying it might be the end of the trend. But notice it didn't make higher highs. It kept going down with lower lows. So here is when it goes up to a higher high. So these check marks, these are good ones. So I'll be getting out there. So you could have made it easy 40 points or so in there. Then we go sideways for a while as the Bollinger Bands start going parallel, and the EMA 21 is parallel. Let's see. We go down here, but we don't get that strong watercolor. And that was me just looking around. I'll get rid of that. And here we get the strong watercolor. So this gets me more interested because that means we've got some sell volume coming in. We've got a good separation between EMA 21 and the price. EMA 21 is coming down. So this is a good add position. All these little pluses are good add positions. But then we got these check marks saying might be going back up. It pulls back a little bit to EMA 21 before coming down again, and then we go sideways for a long time. You guys get the idea. So the moral of this is don't take every signal. Look for a few signals. Look for these the color changing to the strong watercolor. Look for these buy symbols. Look for these pluses to add. But also look for other indicators like these Bollinger Bands. If it's tight like this, then it's hard to trade the trend. So you just look to scalp 10 points or 15 points like that. So I hope I answered your questions about Nebula in TradingView. Good luck.